Holiday meals aren't complete without a delicious piece of bread to soak up the leftover gravy and mashed potatoes and anything that's left on the plate. These are my new go-to holiday rolls, and they're based on the salt bread recipe I made a few months ago. The results are soft, buttery, and crunchy on the bottom. Save this video for your next holiday meal plan. This dough is very straightforward. It's very simple. I even simplified it from my salt bread recipe. The really fluffy, airy, almost commercially soft texture we're gonna get in this roll is from a starch paste made of flour cooked with water. So this is 100 mils of water, 20 grams of all-purpose flour. And we're gonna cook that on medium until it's gelatinized and gotten really thick and gloopy, and that's gonna hold a lot of moisture in our rolls. With this mix, because it's just flour and water so far, I usually like to get in there with a fork before it's actually overheat and break up any of these big clumps of flour. Because even though it's gonna get, really starchy and gloopy, we don't want it clumpy. That's what we're gonna try to avoid. And we'll just get that over medium heat. Now this is going to thicken and cook up pretty quickly. Literally as soon as that flour starts getting warm, it is going to start thickening. The starches are gonna gelatinize, and that's gonna hold a lot of moisture in our rolls. It's gonna make a really nice, super fluffy texture that's, I think, so desirable, especially in a holiday roll. To me, those taste like the Sister Schubert rolls, if you've ever had those. If you grew up in the South, you know Sister Schubert rolls. It's like the same rolls you grew up eating in school at the cafeteria. These kind of have that level of sweet deliciousness. Starting to thicken. This is not even a minute of cooking. Tangzhong is what it's called. It's pretty common in a lot of milk breads. You can see how starchy and gloopy this has gotten. We're gonna let this cool before this goes into our dough so it doesn't make anything too hot. This is like troll snot from Lord of the Rings. It takes a minute and a half, and it makes a really big difference in the end result of the dough. To make this dough, I took my salt bread recipe and made a few adjustments just to make it easier overall, so you don't have to worry about too much when it comes to holiday baking. So this is 450 grams of all-purpose flour. In the salt bread recipe, I used bread flour mixed with cake flour. Actually, somebody commented, could you just use all-purpose? And it got me thinking, you honestly probably could. It's all-purpose. It's gonna work. So this is 450 grams of it, 30 grams of sugar, 10 grams of salt, 6 grams of yeast. For some nice festive flavor, this is just some chopped thyme, rosemary, and sage. Those sort of classic poultry seasonings. I'm just adding those here. You don't have to, you could leave those out, but make sure to spill a bunch of flour on your counter like you always want to do. It's not a huge amount of herbs, but just enough to give them a little bit of that festive flavor. That is mixed together. Now, we need to get our liquid in, which is gonna be in the form of warm milk. So in the initial recipe for salt bread, I had water and powdered milk. Again, someone in my comments asked me, why not just use regular milk? And I thought, that's pretty smart. So this is just all of the water replaced with milk. So 200 mils of milk. We're gonna add our Tangzhong in as well. Mix it until it starts to come together. Good news is almost all of this dough can be formed in a bowl with just kneading and hand mixing. It's pretty shaggy to start. Wasn't me, that kind of shaggy. That's probably as much as our wooden spoon is gonna do. Lana, what was that? Dog's just eating random stuff off the floor. This dough is not designed for a mixer. It's pretty easy to make by hand, so you don't have to pull out a stand mixer or anything for it. That's good enough. Let's knead it. Now for the fun part. This is our butter. Yeah, this is 30 grams of softened, unsalted butter, and this is gonna give us the final moisture we really need for this dough to work. It's kind of a brioche technique, working the butter in after the dough is formed. Butter probably could have been a little bit softer, but that's okay. This is the only kind of gross part of this process. It sort of starts off in a bit of a weird stage with the butter figuring out how it wants to incorporate into the flour, but it'll get there. In general, I think my two favorite Thanksgiving foods are the bread itself and gravy. And the nice thing is those two things can go hand in hand. I feel like part of the appeal of Thanksgiving is having a bunch of stuff touching on the plate. So if you're not one of those people, I get it, where you don't like stuff touching. I totally get it, but I do not have a problem with that. I love the mashed potato with my corn getting in the mashed potato and then the gravy getting in both, like a pseudo KFC famous bowl, and then you just get a roll and you can scoop up as much of that as you want. Oh, it's the best. Do you guys have any like holiday meal favorites? Like my family, we don't really love turkey. Turkey's kind of just like there, not the biggest part of the meal. Right where it is now, feels pretty good. It's not perfect, but we're gonna let this rest proof for like 50 minutes, do a big sort of doubling in size. And that should help a lot with the texture, with everything relaxing. So we're just gonna let this sit into the bowl. And then we're just gonna look for this to double in size. So that'll probably take an hour. See you guys in an hour. It's been a little over an hour. It's gotten much springier. It's about doubled in size, which is great. The dough feels great. At this point, I'll give the dough just a bit of one last massage. We're gonna let this proof again in shape, so it's okay if some of the air goes out. We're gonna break this into 10 dough balls. 10 dough balls is the perfect amount to fit into my cast iron. Just your kind of standard cast iron. 10 dough balls fits perfectly. So that's what I do. That's about 80 grams of dough each. 1, 3, 4. So these are our dough balls. Look at that. 10 nice little dough pieces. I'm gonna ball these now, give them a little bit of shape. Let these hang out for around like 15, 10 minutes, just to relax a little bit. And then we're gonna fill it with cold butter. So just cold unsalted butter. Each one of these rolls is gonna get some in the filling, and that butter is gonna melt out, and it's gonna form really nice crispy bottoms on these. That's kind of the salt bread part of this. Those are rolled into a croissant shape, where these are gonna be more full-on dinner roll shape. So it's same technique, same style, just instead of the sort of semi-croissant rolling vibe you get with the salt bread, this is much more your standard dinner roll. Cover these again, and they can hang out. So now it's been enough time for these to just relax a little bit. 10, 15 minutes, let them chill. Last step, flatten them out one more time, and take a nice, beautiful pat of cold butter, wrap it in the center, seal it up. The butter's gonna leak out. Don't worry about it being like a perfect seal. And then in my cast iron, I fit three sort of in the middle, and then every other one, 7 goes around the outside. This is, like 8 to 10 grams of butter per. So the fact that they're rising together and sort of into each other, so there's not a lot of space between each one. They don't have anywhere to go sideways, so they go high, which is cool. Gives us a nice, really tall, delicious roll with a lot of texture. Contrast between the crunchy bottom, the crunchy top, and the soft, really pillowy interior. It's quite nice. So these are the rolls. They're gonna take some time, 30 minutes or so to rise one last time, so they're nice, improved, and perfect for baking. We'll give this one last covering. I'll heat the oven up to 375 when I'm ready to bake them. Like I said, my kitchen is a little bit cooler today, so these are taking a little bit longer to rise, but I like where they're at right now. They've sort of risen into each other. They will continue and get a big puff of air and rise in the oven, so that's great. What I like to do before these go in, more butter, why not? Just to brush the top so the top gets nice and golden. So we're gonna go for a golden top, nice and brown and crunchy on top, and then all that butter is going to crisp up the bottoms as well. So you're sort of a crunchy top, crunchy bottom with a really soft, pillowy center. So just give all these a little bit of melted butter. This could be egg wash as well. Butter is gonna get a little bit crispier. Egg wash is just kind of brown and soft. So it's sort of your decision on what you wanna do there. This last one can get a little bit more. And then let's hit these. Quite a bit of salt, just like big, crunchy, flaky salt. We used unsalted butter for everything, so I want this to have flavor. There's salt in the dough, but also it's nice to have those like pockets of crunchy, delicious salt. Because these are larger dough balls, they need a little bit more time at a lower temperature so that the inside is cooked as the outside is crunchy. So 375 Fahrenheit for like 22 to 25 minutes, and then they will be beautiful and ready to eat. Okay, I want a little browner, so I'm gonna go a few more minutes, but these do look nice. If they're not browned to your liking, you can just bump the heat up to 400 for the last like 2 minutes or so. This is about 22 minutes of cooking. I'm just gonna brown the tops and then we'll be good to go. When you got these rolls fresh out of the oven and they're just warm and crunchy, they are pretty perfect when it comes to a holiday meal. It is exactly what you want, it's what you think of, but it's just a more elevated version of it. I think the salt bread technique of filling these with butter really does make a difference. It gives you an interior that's been laced with butter and a really crunchy bottom that tastes like fried bread in the best way possible. Very, very delightful. These are about to be very hot still, but I want, oh, so hot. You can see how burnished and brown and like crunchy that bottom is. Hot. Oh, it's so hot. Like perfectly. Oh God, ow. It's so hot. That pocket of butter. Ah! Mmm. You see that texture? So delicious. It's perfect. It's so good. Thank you so much for watching, and massive shout out to the amazing people supporting me directly on Patreon through patreon.com/CameronMarty. They get some cool benefits for supporting the channel, and I get to keep making videos like this, so it's a win-win. Consider checking it out and consider becoming a patron. I've got a whole playlist of holiday recipes that you can check out right here. There are cookies and desserts and pies and just some things that I think you're really gonna enjoy. Thanks again for watching. Cheers.